start with that argument as we go. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. A few seconds early, because I was just talking to the flyby guy. Strange that name, flyby guy. And oh, hello, not dead yet. Hang on, there's someone that's not dead yet. Oh, it's Ian's not dead. Ian's not dead yet. How's it, mate? How you doing?
Hello.
Oh, sorry. And another. Blimey, there's another person joining. Goodness me, it's getting busy around here. How's it, Ian? There's another person joining. How's it, Ian? I'll keep all Ian's at the bottom.
Keep me off screen where they belong. I'll be
back
now. I've just
Are you segregating, Gary? Are you segregating?
Well, yes. Well, why did my phone ding then? What's going on now? Why did my phone ding? Oh, well, if I disappear, we've had a big storm. Internet's fallen over. Life's weird at the moment. But anyway, what was I going to say? I was just talking to Stephen just as we started. And so I thought we'd kick it in. He says there's no evidence. Oh, I'm feeding back from somewhere.
Something in the background. Who's got the audio on?
He says there's no evidence. Oh, I'm feeding back from somewhere.
In the background. Who's got the audio on?
He says there's no evidence.
It's not me.
He says there's no. Is it just switch yours off, Stephen? Either that or the internet's gone nuts now. Tell you what, I'll mute myself. Just switch yours off, Stephen. Either that or the internet's gone nuts now.
I think that's you, Stephen. Yeah.
How strange! It was him. Yeah. It was him.
I've noticed Stephen this week doing the crusade for dodgy light shows.
I've had an idea.
Yeah.
That's
preparation. Yeah, it was the light don't shine out of it. That's for sure. Yeah, well, Stephen can perhaps use hand signals or something like that.
Do you know?
It was you. You've switched it up. Yeah, well, maybe it was me. All right, try and unmute your mic and see if it comes back again. We'll see what happens. So we were just talking about there being no evidence of DGR dodginess because it looks to me like the FCC hack, as it were, to coin a phrase, is going to work in America. It really looks like they're pushing that forward. It's moved forward to the next stage, to full committee. It won't be for 6 or 7 months, but it looks like it's going to go the way of TikTok. If the TikTok hammer falls, I think the DJI hammer will fall. Am I right or am I wrong? I throw it to the floor.
Yeah, America has to protect itself from these crucial threats to its integrity.
I don't think it can, though, because TikTok's a different thing. TikTok was bought. DJI is a homegrown Chinese company, very proudly so, and has got to where they are through developing products that people want to buy. They didn't buy them. They didn't, okay, you're going to argue over did they steal anything? That's a whole other world of pain to fall down. But the reality is, and I was talking about this actually with someone on my Discord, in the end, there's always been a lot of accusations against DJI, and I'm certainly not the biggest friend, but what they have done is better than everyone else. And we were talking the other day about 3DR, why they failed, Unique, Autel, and you've got this clone that appears to be a DJI product under a different name that we don't know a lot about as well, which has appeared on the market. But in the end, I think the US government will throw their toys around as much as they want, but I don't ever see them doing it. I don't think they can. I don't think they can.
They can with the FCC switch.
There'd have to be a buyback.
They can with the FCC switch.
Yeah, they have to buy back, though, because they can't just negate that value entirely overnight. They have to be like firearms. When you ban guns, you've got to buy them back when the government bans guns. They'd have to do the same thing. Can they afford to buy back all those drones?
You don't always. I think you can ban stuff without having to buy it back. You're the government. You just say, this is how it is.
But here's the thing, innit? What logical reason is there? If you actually look...
It's not about logic.
Yeah, but in the end, there's always a lot of posturing. There's always a lot of noise. But in the end, what accusations can you actually leverage against DJI when it comes to stealing data, when it comes to... Look, if you're going to go down that road, Facebook, Google are the top.
Yeah,
but they're American.
Ian, I do agree with you here. Well, guys, we're still having this feedback. It's still coming through big time.
Again. It's not here.
No,
It must be you, Gary.
These are
I think it's you.
American companies that are stealing.
okay.
When
I'll
it's
come back,
American
yeah.
companies stealing, it's fine.
I'll turn me down.
I'll turn you down. No.
Has anyone else got
No,
I
that
can't hear any
feedback?
feedback now.
No.
It's all good now.
No.
It's good to
No.
know. Yeah. The problem is that
Yeah.
Facebook and those, they're American companies, but China, DJI is a Chinese company. And remember, in politics, you don't have to have evidence, you don't have to have facts, no logic, no reason, no rhyme, because you're the government. You can do it. The people have given you that power. And what's the good of power if you can't abuse it?
It'll be interesting if they do it, because it'll get undone quicker than they can. The reality is this: I can't think of this would be the first time they've intervened, because if you're going to stop that, right, you then got to stop every laptop. You've then got to stop, because every laptop's made by Foxconn or every Dell, nice big American company. Then you move on to Apple. Then you move on to Google, and
the new political motto in the USA: "Make America Stone Age again."
The reality is, I don't really think they can afford to open Pandora's box.
I think it's very unfair that DJI are being singled out here, because we have every social media are doing this, and
Yeah. I know what you mean.
it's not going to work. If you're going to stop one, you should stop them all. And I think this is completely insane. And I do agree with you, Ian. It's unfair.
I don't think it'll happen. I think it's posturing. It's easy. DJI is the easiest target, because hurting them doesn't really affect the America they don't employ a lot of staff in the US, so they can talk a game, they can throw a lot of mud, but when it comes down to actually doing it, I think it won't happen.
You're missing the motivation, though. The motivation is they want the US companies that do drones to have the market to themselves. That with DJI gone, you can sell your stuff that's inferior to DJI at more money, because you've got no other choice.
But who's going to do it?
There's multiple motivations.
They've all pulled out. Skydio have pulled out of the consumer market intentionally.
Yeah, who cares about consumers?
Go back in if there's no competition.
It's about consumers.
Enterprise. Yeah, but they've got the law for the enterprise. That's what Blue UAS was about. So that basically then they're saying Blue UAS failed, because if they're having to ban DJI, Blue UAS has failed. That's the reality here.
Well, I think we know it. I think we know it as.
Surely not. But I'm just hoping those guys that left a major drone manufacturer and set up their own operation because they were concerned about the extreme price.
Exactly.
I hope they come back to America and actually do it properly.
They'll come back.
Yeah, but I think patents have expired, haven't they? And that's allowed them to.
You can buy
How
them on
many
the internet.
years has this been rumbling on and on and on? We're already
but it's not got this far. It's never got this far.
No.
Who remembers
and sorry,
Who remembers Reds under the bed? Who remembers McCarthyism? Reds under the bed.
Yes.
It's a way of stirring up national support for your government. It's patriotism and it's rah rah rah, salute the flag. It is a someone's gone. It's a strategy that's often used in hard political times to rally people around the flag, and and also there's multiple aspects to this. It's a trade war. It's allegedly protecting the security of the nation. They can bring all this together. They get a lot of weight and momentum going behind this. And remember, we've had the war against drugs. We've had the war against terror. Now it's the war against drones.
It's good to distract people with nasty ghosts from across the pond that you can't see and you can't hear, because you wouldn't want your population to actually start thinking about what's going on in your own country, because that could be a problem, isn't it? And I don't see it. I know it's a phase that's gone. It'll be super interesting if it does happen. At the end of the day, DJI, none of us owe DJI anything. So we'll all sit back and go, Jesus, they actually did it. And now let's see what happens. But I'd put a tenner squarely on it never happening.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's all talk. I think that this is just a scaremonger, and we know that this is a political thing because there's so much politics happening in the US at the moment, and it's just trying to divert. any ban that is tried to come in, they will obviously appeal it, logic and evidence, whatever. But if they're going to start obviously saying the DJI are leaking, then they're going to have to look at everything. They're going to have to look at X, they're going to have to look at Facebook, they're going to have to look at Instagram, TikTok, and everything else. And to single out DJI, as we've just said, is just completely insane. And, I don't know. It's
What will be interesting is Trump will cut in because he's going to win. Let's be honest. The reality is Trump will win. What will then happen is he'll turn around and say he told the guy over there that they need to stop doing it, and he was the one who put his fist down. And don't worry, they're not spying anymore, and you can continue to buy your Chinese drones because we told them. We told them they can't.
That started under Trump.
It started under Trump, though. Yeah.
Yes.
But nah, it'd be cool. It'd be incredibly interesting to watch the rest of the world sit back and go, okay, we're going to follow this, or we're going to buy a load of product now that's a bit cheaper, because what it'll do is suddenly open up the pricing.
Rest of the world dropped Huawei when America did.
Yeah, but what was
we didn't.
But that was that is different because, in the UK, there was a lot of their gear. We had a big broadband rollout. I know quite a bit about this side of it. And we had a big broadband rollout in about 2012 for the first stages of second stages of ADSL2. And then we were on the beginnings of the fiber rollout. And they had like 80% of the contracts for the fiber cabinets until the US changed the rules and they were pushed out. But that is infrastructure. That is equipment literally in the stuff that we use every day. At the end of the day, a DJI drone does not transmit. It doesn't have a cell signal. It doesn't. Its only connection to the internet is when you connect it. It's an inert device until you put it online.
Yeah, but the point is,
the skies are about to be filled with these damn things, with deliveries and people in them, and also you're too far.
But that doesn't have. But that doesn't have to be DJI. So
you're right. It could be EHAM.
Well, they don't do deliveries either. They will probably do as I call people or the. Yeah, well, I mean, leg shredders are a bit different, but I mean, the majority, I would say 95% of drone deliveries will be done without DJI being involved, which of course we all know, which is a completely different, sector whatsoever. But the majority of the consumer drones, even the majority of drones that are being used in everyday workplace, just like we do, we are using DJI drones. And like I've said in the past, and Gary, you've also reported this, is that if they do choose to stop DJI, this will have an effect on so much more. This will have an effect on Drone Deploy. This will have an effect on all the companies that are making accessories for the drones. It's not just about DJI drones. It's not just about the person or just companies that are using the AI. It's the whole the whole industry. And that is where I think that it becomes more important, is because there's so much that we rely on. There's so many companies that are involved in this, and there's so. I mean, I actually had a chat with Drone Deploy last week, and they don't seem to be concerned, but they know that if this does happen, it will affect them, and they might have to relocate to the EU. Because they're all based in the US at the moment, and
maybe they come back to South Africa. Those
they might do.
From it. They're from just down the road here.
Yeah, but again, that is also going to be expensive. They will have to weigh up. Is that going to be worth it?
But it's interesting. So we talk about the TikTok thing. See, I don't see TikTok as a problem. If we are worried about data being stolen from a social media platform, TikTok's the least of our problems. Next, if we're going to talk about it being political influence, then again, TikTok's the least of our problems. Where are you going to start with this? The news agencies, which are own Fox, you're going to go, look, all this is about is control, but the control they don't have.
They don't have, yes.
That's the reality here. This isn't about TikTok can influence the world. It's about they don't control TikTok, so they don't know what it's going to do. And that was the same with Twitter. If
they ban TikTok, does that mean that all the old clocks won't work anymore?
They won't work. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or you'll have to fit silencers. That's what you'll have to do. Yeah.
TikTok, it's a social media platform. Do people watch it? Yeah, cats most of the time. I don't go on TikTok a lot.
Cats.
Cats doing stuff a lot of the time. That's you know, if there's
It's
a
just like
political ad
Tinder
in the
without
middle
the
of it, it's
swiping,
obviously
isn't it?
going to sway me.
But you're right. It's about the control and the overarching. All of us are technology sort of people, and the overarching thing is all breeds of this modern influencing technology is trouble. All of it, wherever, regardless of where it's from, it's all trouble.
Do you not think this is a move to begin to sow the seed of nothing? It's not about the ban; it's about being able to use it as an excuse. So when one party doesn't get in, it's because of that. It's not about banning TikTok. If you ban TikTok, what excuse are you going to have for not winning the election? From one side or another. This is
I see.
This isn't about, because the second you solve the problem, then you have no more excuses. What is really good is to have this constant narrative of China being bad, influence on social media, all of this stuff. The problem is,
but what the hell does that got to do with someone putting up a drone taking a photo of a sunset?
I think DJI is a poster. DJI is a poster brand. That's all. DJI is getting mixed up because they went after Huawei, and who is now? DJI is the only company I can think of who. DJI is one of the very few, at least, big Chinese brands that is world renowned in themselves. If you think about it,
when you say when you say world renowned, if you walk on the street and you ask someone, who is DJI, they probably wouldn't know who they are.
No, they'd know who TikTok was.
Yeah, of course, yes, of course. But yes. I mean, I'm talking about DJI now.
Yeah.
And you talk to 10 people. I guarantee that out of those 10 people, how many of them would know who DJI was?
Yep. And when you think about it, America always has to have an enemy. That's why we've had the war against terror, war against drugs. We've got the war against China, and DJI is a great poster child for that, because we've got over 1 million drones in America, which means there's probably 240 million people who hate drones. And so you hook your wagon up to the hate of drones. Oh, this is a Chinese company and they make drones. They spy on you, all that sort of stuff. It's very easy to vilify them because they're not only Chinese, but they also make drones. So it's a double whammy. It's a great enemy to create in the eyes of the public, so that you can leverage that then, because when you've got an enemy, you need more control. You need to be able to regulate things more. You need to take away some freedoms to ensure safety. And that's the way governments work.
But the enemy of the drone is then that goes back to the press, because if people hate drones, it comes from one place, and that's only the press. So this goes back to something else as to who is controlling the information. And I'm not one to get into conspiracy theories or anything like that, but if there's a negativity of drones, then it comes from one place, and that is the press.
Except Business Insider, they write some wonderful articles.
I was going to say that's entirely true. I mean, it's twofold. It's obviously the media these days is funded through advertising, so they need clickbait, and technology, because of the ignorance around it and the way you can spin fear, is always a good one. It's drones, and obviously now it's AI, and there'll always be something that comes along. So we're just unfortunate that we've been an easy target for 10 years. It's
what's interesting. Oh, sorry, Bruce.
No, just they should DJI should buy TikTok.
Yeah. What is interesting is these guys are all running around, right, talking about DJI. The world of change that we're on the cusp of with AI, and I'm now talking specifically about the video editors, and I've been watching a lot of stuff, and I'm not talking about the stuff which is the video editing stuff. The video capability in the next 2 years is going to end the fact that you can believe anything you see or hear. And I mean forever. We are about to be in a position where any form of video is over. That as truth. It's end game. That's for sure. Because it's not about if you can prove it was fake. Proving it's fake is irrelevant. Once the message is out there that it was delivered, it's done. It doesn't matter if someone says it was fake 2 days later and we've proved it. That doesn't matter. All the video has to say is a certain thing, and they're all running around with DJI like that. And I think some of these things are because their heads are in the sand, because they don't know what to do. They honestly don't know where to look, because everyone is about to lose control. Control is about government control. Everything is about to change on a level I never imagined, let alone anyone else. And it'll be unbelievable. You know?
Mesh networks are our only hope.
Everything.
Yes. Yeah, I've got to hang on. I've got to write Meshtastic on a bit of paper now. Hang on, I've got to get in there somewhere.
Terminator 3 was on the other night, and I was watching a Battlestar Galactica, and you suddenly realize how close we are to that point now. The beginnings of that.
What you got to remember is freedom is slavery and war is peace.
Yeah, that's right. The end is nigh. The end is nigh.
China is
dyslexic Gary strikes
AI for wargaming. Let them do it. Look, if they're going to drop the bomb, they're going to drop the bomb, right? Let's be honest here, right?
I'm just glad there's only one of them.
Why are we worried? Why are we worried about China collecting data? Let's cut the nonsense and go, right, so they're finding out where I live, what color underpants I wear, and the fact that I might walk around my house naked now and again.
The fact that you wear underpants.
So right. So what?
Yeah.
Why is this data? Data is important as long as it's truthful. The world we're about to enter is the world full of data where nothing is
misinformation.
Misinformation. Yeah. So data then becomes worthless because
it becomes a tool to use against your enemy. You provide misinformation and you derail their plans.
Yeah.
I mean, smart people don't try to complain. They just work behind the scenes to make sure the enemy's getting the wrong data. That's worked in World War II a lot.
Yep.
That's where they're dangerous.
I just hope they have enough place to store all that data. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
storage is cheap.
So, exactly. Bruce said it. Storage is cheap and getting cheaper by the second.
Did you see the new AI processor from NVIDIA? Do you know how many transistors are on that processor?
I know. I was looking.
208 billion transistors per processor. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. We're still playing a game from 25 years ago. Like, you know, funny enough, I watched the Alan Turing film the other day again. That came up. And, you know, if you think about that was about information. In the end, breaking Enigma was about information. Today, it doesn't matter.
Polish.
Data doesn't matter now because it's all going to be fake. You're not going to be able to tell what's real. You're not going to be able to tell what's not real. You're just going to say
that's not entirely true. I mean, when you're manipulating the public, it's one thing, but data when you're a government is very important. You're still going to use that, and that's why.
How can they make the difference? How can they tell what the difference between the truth and Ian walking around half naked in his home? I mean,
that is the truth. We know that's the truth. That is the truth. Yikes! This has all got a bit grim, isn't it? Really?
It is funny, you know, and the world it's going to be interesting the next 5 years because the way some of this stuff is going, this stuff is the least of our problems.
I do agree.
The whole of Europe's gearing up for war with Russia right now.
It's wait until you.
We're not gearing up for Russia right now. We're not. Trust me, I'm in Finland. I'm next door to Russia. We're not gearing up for war right now. Trust me, we're not.
You got feels, you're right.
Well, they were the nut jobs that held them back before, weren't they? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He'd be dead soon.
I mean, you know, I'm in the center of Helsinki, right? I'm literally in the center of Helsinki. I can fly a drone pretty much anywhere in this city, apart from the Parliament House, which is 90 meters from this window as I speak, and the President's Palace, which is 300 meters from here. Apart from that, I can pretty much fly anywhere at all. If I fly over there, I'll get caught by the aeroscope. If I fly over there, I'll get caught by the aeroscope. We're not that paranoid here. You know, it's not that bad. I don't see it being that bad at all.
Here's interesting. What do you think about this drone that's appeared, and which is a DJI manufactured product? I don't know if you've seen this. Sean on Geeks Fan was talking about this earlier on his stream, and I saw this pop up earlier in the week. So there's a drone that's appeared in the US, which it looks like it probably shouldn't have. It seems that DJI are now selling the A3 under a third-party brand. Like we don't know what market it's for. That's unusual in itself. That's
maybe they're inserting themselves to come in sideways after the ban.
I don't know. It's not
Exactly.
US. It's another Chinese company. The only thing I did think is this a nice way of saying, hey, it's not our drones being used in Ukraine. It's this company's products, if you get my meaning. It was a bit of a sly side move on branding for the Ukraine thing.
It could be. As I said, I think I mentioned on your stream, and my mate Luke's a slacker, and he's gone to sleep. You're a slacker, Luke. He was going to come on and talk to a few things, but he is having problems bringing in gear into here now from China. Foxtech are beginning to protest. So I think I have a feeling that, and a few people in your stream mentioned it as well, that China export ban by the Chinese government themselves is beginning to take effect. So it might be to avoid Ukraine, or it might be to avoid the Chinese government export ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. We've also seen things here where, let's say that from certain countries asking us to do things to other countries in order to go to another country, and
like the car sales
we've seen
thing
that
in
as
the
well.
UK.
Yeah.
The car thing, that's, I think, was it Latvia that there was like a 200% increase in high-end vehicle sales since like overnight, and it's like, okay,
I'm going to buy all my drones from Iran now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really good. They work really well.
Might be safer. Yeah.
No, I think that is beginning to rear its head now. It's taken I think it was last August or something like that.
Yeah, it's a long time
now. That ban came in, so it's taken a while for that to start filtering through. But I think it is, and that's pretty interesting in itself, especially if it gets into the FPV world as well. But having said that, and put that worrywart stuff out, you can still buy FPV gear and the units of 10,000 from Alibaba.
Yes, you can. Of nice 32 boards, I'm good.
And stack of those 32, yeah.
We did see an flow of stuff, but I think the Ukraine thing has swallowed up far more than the Chinese ban. I do believe, I was talking to someone the other day, and literally we were talking about DJI sales, in fact, and I was saying, I think they could be struggling, and I got laughed at because you said you do realize the amount of product that is just going that way. They probably don't even need to sell to the rest of the world at the moment.
I think I would put it that they probably can't keep up.
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
From a consumer drone point of view, the bubble is burst, and you're not seeing the hunger anymore. Although there's some new products on the horizon, but I think, I don't think they've got a problem selling gear, have they?
They're probably doing 4 years worth of sales in a year at the minute.
I said in my news, I said that they're planning to build 1 million FPV drones in Ukraine this year. How many FPV drones are sold every year around the world? It's a tiny fraction of that.
Yeah. There is a reason why they call it the Ukrainian cookbook. That is what they call it. So.
And I found it quite interesting that the UK is funding a Latvian startup that's punching these things out, and they've sort of, what do I want to say? They've detached themselves from any controversy then of buying Chinese stuff and things like that by getting the Latvians to build it. And I'm a little bit disappointed that they're not actually pushing money towards people making them in the UK, because our own defense systems will need these sort of things to play with in mass, and they're farming it out. So
wait till the war breaks out and they call on all FPV pilots to rally around the flag, and we'll go, no, you banned us years ago, bugger off.
Now the machines would have risen up on legs and massacred us all and turned us into
what's happening in Wales today? He's a jolly old soul, isn't he, today? He's a jolly old soul.
I'm waiting for the end of the world, Gary, from AI.
Terminator 3, that was the one with the female Terminator, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that's the one
up
you'd be
upon
watching.
legs and murder us all. We're
not even down the pub, Ian.
AI stream, Gary.
Well, I mean, are we real? Is this real?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you got to ask. But I think somehow we inadvertently have just gone through 30 minutes of talking nonsense there that I didn't plan.
Isn't that what we do?
It is normal. Yeah, it is normal, I suppose. And Boros even come on here because I wanted to ask him about fake drone shows. and his video. If you've not seen his video, look for his video. And well, really, what's my takeaway from that? It's like, well, fake drone shows good enough, isn't it? If that gets the views for your marketing or whatever, that's all we need, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, I think that when you're trying to, let's say, fool the public by thinking that something that you're doing or something that has happened has actually happened and is real, when in actual fact it is not real. I think that it's actually deception and it's fake news. And given that the amount of work that many companies like ourselves and others out there that actually do, and to see work like that being put out there in the public domain, and there's many people who think it's real, who think it's wonderful, and this is a drone show, and it's not. It's it's fake, but they do it on purpose, and some of it's very clever. And I think that I would say 80% of people, do fall for it. There are quite a few people who can see that it's fake and see that it's not real, and know why it's not real, But there are quite a few out there who don't see that, and that makes our job more difficult, because when we have clients that are looking for this kind of work,
one like that.
Shows, yeah, that is the most difficult thing, because they see these shows that are fake and they think that you can basically fly anywhere over people, over the size, the drones can go as fast as they want. And then we have to disappoint them by saying, no, that's not possible. Then they kind of go, well, okay, thanks. And then they close the door. So seeing these kind of shows is actually harmful to the industry itself.
What you need is a sister company that does a fake one, and you go, we can't do that for you.
Is this people posting it as video then? Because I've not seen this. So this is just uploads of what appears to be a drone show, which has been faked.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So there's.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, we're seeing a lot. Something I've noticed, actually, a lot of manufacturers in the FPV industry and drone industry are now a huge amount of fake imagery being used, right, for products. And I don't mean the product itself, but the output. Cadex, I've caught 3 times on this. DJI are bad for this. We've moved to a period where everyone now has a product to sell. They put a bunch of stock fake imagery up, and that's accepted as, hey, this is what it look like and do. And you're like, well, actually, no, that's
3D renderings. That's new. Have they got blockchain?
I was going to say, Ian was quickly dragging himself back down to it's all AI, it's all fake, we're all about to die. I think we need. I know we need a banner to come across and
AI drone shows.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I completely hear Stephen. It's worth watch Stephen's video on the Fly By Guys YouTube channel to think about that some more.
I've actually made quite a few videos about this. I've made quite a few, and I'm sure many of you have seen these images of the cathedrals that are only.
Oh yes, yes.
Let's say half done, and then the drones are actually completing it. And there are many images now. Now that I know the guy who actually done that, and I know why he done it, and I know why it was released, and it was kind of unfair. And I did confront him about it and said that because there are many news articles out there saying this is a great way to do it, and there's no way drones can do that. There's not a chance that drones can go that close to the building and form a building. You would just have interference from the structure itself, and it's just that people think that this is what drones can do, and as much as we know that drones are not dangerous, and people are out there saying that drones are bad, and then people are looking at these things and saying, "Oh, drones are wonderful because they do this." Drones are not bad, and drones can't do that. So there's something in the middle that we need to be able to tie down to say, look, they're not bad. But they can't do that, but they can do this. And nobody cares about this, but everybody cares about the bad stuff and the things that they can't do. And, we're kind of in this limbo. So that's why I talk about this stuff quite a lot, because, I work with this. I know what they do, and I know what they can't do. And it's a shame. obviously Mark's not on tonight because Mark has been working with us as well, and he has an idea of it. But it's becoming a problem, and it makes our job more and more difficult because of what people see in the fakery. So
why are they doing it? So let's just think from a business point of view. What's the logic to this?
Okay. I'll say this without upsetting people. There are certain companies in the world that come from certain parts of the world that, let's say, the rest of the world don't want to deal with anymore, where they have left those countries to work somewhere else, and it's taken them time to get the business up and going. So let's say, because no one wants to work with them anymore, they will create content in order to get more attention. If you know what I mean. I'm not going to mention names of these companies, but they come from certain countries that we don't want to work with anymore. We know
because
who
I was going to say, they're going to hit the same barrier you're going to hit, that the client comes to you and say, I want that. And like you're saying, I can't do that because that's not possible. They have to say the same thing.
Well, it's all down to your sales technique as well. And of course, it's a difficult situation. We know who they are. We know what they're doing. And we know that it's kind of a sales technique in a sense, and when you're trying to edge out certain people. Now, this doesn't really work in Europe because, those companies don't work in Europe because they can't work in Europe. But they're working in certain regions where they can, let's say, survive. But at the beginning, and you can go back to the Qatar World Cup a few years ago, where they were still producing content which wasn't real because they weren't even there. And actually, we were there, so we were in Qatar at that location doing drone shows, and then they're actually producing content that they weren't even there. And it really got my end up, so I wasn't too happy to see that, So now, of course, it doesn't really matter. We're there, we're doing our job, and it's fine. But when you see that kind of content that clearly cannot be done, yet it's been shared hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times, and people going, "Oh, look at that, that's wonderful," and you go, "Come on,"
Yeah, fair enough. And I've seen the archaeological stuff, or the cathedral stuff. I've seen shared into archaeological groups, and people have gone, "What?" And they're utterly convinced it's real.
Yeah,
so you're
exactly.
you're absolutely right. And people are, "Oh, what a fantastic idea! We could do it at this site. We could do it at that site." And so you have raised the hopes of a great group of people that would love to do something interesting, and maybe something interesting would happen. And now, bringing on fake.
I was going to say, just on the fake thing, because it's just, we've learned this week as the Middletons will be, or not the Middletons, as the prince and princess will be able to tell you, fake imagery is a bad thing, and as they're learning in the kickback in the press,
Yeah.
Well, then
I think that boy's got a deformed wrist.
It'll happen, It'll happen.
Sorry, Ian. When you go, Ian. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think people will catch on with this, and then it will, it will have less traction. I think it'll take a little time, but at the moment, as you're alluding to, it's just about the clicks. The end game of it all is to get the clicks, and you basically, people have learned that you can get the same amount of clicks whether you do it for real or you don't do it for real.
It's a lot cheaper,
But there's still going to be a market there to do it for real, because obviously your councils and the like. There is this wanting to move away from like fireworks shows and so on to move into drones. At the moment, that move can't quite be made because it's trying to get the economics of it all to work. But I think with smaller, cheaper drones for the actual shows themselves, I think eventually it will work. So I think there's still a future there for the legitimate shows. But at the moment, people are being conned, and it is good that Steve's out there doing the analysis and saying, wait a minute. And I know you should jump in on quite a few Twitter accounts saying, wait a minute, what you're posting here is fake. But it is worth doing. And I think eventually, certainly companies that are going to put money behind it for marketing, that they're going to want it done legit. So I think it's working in places like Dubai. But then again, if I see anything coming out of Dubai, it doesn't impress me because, I know it's the place where everyone goes to market something. and it doesn't mean it's actually going to be economically viable for the rest of the world.
And but speaking of fake stuff, you realize that YouTube, as of next week, is requiring all content that has AI generated, or all videos with AI generated content or misleading content that depicts events and things that are not real, has to be flagged by the creator.
Misleading content. I got to go back and flag everything then.
I don't know if it's retrospective, but certainly according to the CNN, from Monday onwards, you have to do that, or you can get a strike and they'll take your video down.
Wow.
And very interesting. Again, talking to fake, the Ken Heron story is rolling out in the chat, and that's. But before we start that, I'd just like to put a bit of product placement in that works well today. I've got a Nats pen, and this pen will this will write your own UTM if you want it, and it's yours only for a small fee. No, that Karen Heron thing that didn't work. I was trying to make that up on the fly, and that didn't work. He's just been caught, hasn't he? He's been caught shilling, like our two boys here constantly shill chairs. It's been, of course, Ian in Wales is the ultimate. Of course, he'll review a burger. I'd forgotten.
We got that.
Look, I'm not on the chair. I'm not on the chair. Look.
Oh, have they lost their sponsorship with you?
You haven't paid this month, Gary.
So now it keeps that chair completely in shot all the time. His back doesn't even block it.
No, I've moved some stuff around, and I'm on my temporary chair. My other chair's over there. I just can't be bothered to move it. There's too much crap on the floor. So, yeah.
Get another chair and you'll be a jolly good fellow.
It's a tough one. I haven't really commented on this. I've been on Ken's show a few times. I've always found him a pleasant guy when I've been on. He's been very kind to me. I've helped him out with some stuff. It's all a bit messy. I think what you're seeing is you're starting, and this isn't specific to Ken. You're going to see and Bruce might understand what I mean on this, a contracting of this market. There are too many people trying to step over each other, and I'm lucky. I don't do this for a living. I'm not in that position.
We're lucky too.
You're lucky. And I do use affiliate links now. I do have Patreon. I do have ad revenue. But that's what allows me to buy stuff to make videos. I could stop doing this tomorrow, and my life would probably be infinitely better because I'd have more time with my kids. I'd have more time with my wife. I almost quit this year. This is something I've not shared. And I was talked out of it by a very good friend of mine who said, why? And I was like, look, I'm finding it hard right now with everything going on. And it was, well, look, what are you going to do when you retire? What is your plan when you retire? Because if you give up on this, this could be a good, stable income. Like Bruce, look, it's an income for Bruce in retirement. I don't want to work forever. And perhaps it's an angle I can, and as a way of building to something, but I'm lucky I don't have to rely on it. Whereas there are a lot of people who do. And it's not just Ken, I think you're seeing it across the board. You're seeing all of these drone channels reviewing kettles or freaking toasters. Or Bruce knows what I mean. And I've taken a bit of time out from making content just to have a bit of a break and have a look. And it's interesting. And I'm lucky. I get to choose what I've reviewed. Everything I've reviewed, I've chose to do. No, it's not because I have to. And I think people are starting to get into difficult positions. And there's a weird thing. A lot of things, people get upset. And someone said down there that there's nothing wrong with making money. And that's 100% true. People keep saying things like against Bardwell and all people, they're only in for money or this. Right. If people don't make money, they can't pay their bills if they're doing this full time. Same as Bruce, right? If Bruce doesn't make money, Bruce doesn't have a job. As far as I'm aware, you retired, Bruce. You know, this is your income. So if you don't make money, you can't put food on the table. It's really simple. So why do people get upset with a creator trying to make money? What you got to look at is that person doing it in the right way? It's not about making money. It's about, are they genuine with what they're doing? Are they genuine in what they're saying? It's not even a problem if they're taking sponsorship, as long as you go, he did that. And the example I'll give on that, JB took, I think, $1,000 from Ray Shadow Legends because they offered a sponsorship for $1,000, and he just went, yeah, I'll do it, and literally sat there and said, I have done this to take the £1,000 and I'm going to do this sponsorship for the next hour. That's great because there's no hiding it. There's nothing bad in that. I think what gets murky is when what's happened here is you suddenly go, oh, that wasn't what we thought it was, and that's the problem. That's the problem. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. It is. It's that the whole market's contracting. There's too many creators, not enough audience. And YouTube itself is paying out less and less and less as they just come with the other things. So everyone's feeling the pain and the hurt, and there's the temptation to take other revenue streams. And as Ian says, there's nothing wrong with that if you're open and honest about it, But when you hide it and you cover it up and you try and suppress knowledge of that by taking people's videos down, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And I noticed that we're starting to get a lot more drama in this little community, because drama makes clicks. People love drama. If you look at some of the biggest channels on YouTube, they're all about drama, about what's happening on YouTube, what's happening in entertainment. People want to know the goss. They want to know what someone's done wrong. And so I guess for some people, they see this as a great way to pivot to an area where they're guaranteed an audience. Even if no one flies drones anymore, people still want to know what other people are doing, that they watch. So it's not an area I want to go into. I'd rather just not make videos than make ones that I'm simply chasing dollars. But everyone is different. They all have their own choices, but the audience will judge based on what they see. And so it'll all settle itself out.
It's like a really sad version of Home and Away, isn't it?
Yeah. If you remember, I put that thing out about DC and the bot grinder thing. And I have a real fundamental belief. I am the only person who can mess this up. No one can do that but me. So if you do something that your audience doesn't like, which means they stop worrying, that's on you. Now, sometimes you will make a choice to do something and say, I want to go this direction, and some people won't come on the journey with you. That's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do something that makes people question your authenticity, then you have a problem, because at the end of the day, all I have is my integrity. I don't have my looks. I don't have my age. I have a bit of knowledge, but what I've got is my integrity. And if you haven't got that, you're boned. And
I think Ken has closed the door. No one could believe any review that Ken made in the future, because we don't know if someone's paid him to do that, and he won't tell us. That's the problem. So he shut a door. He might have opened a door somewhere else, but he's closed that door off. Maybe he feels that just not enough money in reviews anymore to worry about what he's losing by doing what he's doing.
That's the problem. And people think we make loads of money. And I came so close. I had a big argument with a load of people a couple of months ago, and I got so close to publishing everything this channel has made. And then I thought, why should I? No one else does. Does this channel make money? Yes. There you go. There you go. That's end. Does it make enough money for me to buy a Lamborghini? No.
If I can remember how to do it, I'll willingly publish how much I've heard.
Yeah,
he used to have a Lambo before he did all that work in the attic, I think it was.
Yeah.
Before he got rid of the grass and
the channel makes. If you add up the hours I spend to what this channel has made, and I don't take anything from it. Do I benefit? Yes, absolutely. I get some nice gear. I get to go. There's a new DJ product around the corner. I'll get to buy it. I think I'll deliver something for that, and I think people will get some info on that, and that's a service. I win, they win, everyone's happy. But again, as long as you're honest about that, I do like Ken.
But it's about your integrity, as you were saying, and of course, I think that what's happened with Ken in the past, especially when he came to the privacy thing, when he was flying the drones next to people and all the rest of it and harassing them. I mean, that was a low point. I mean, that was a very, very low point. And I think he lost a lot of respect from a lot of people from that as well. And to be honest with you, I haven't been watching Ken for a long time because of that and a few other things as well. I only seen what was happening recently because Bruce had been making some noise about it, and I actually found that really interesting. Actually, and it was more this other guy. I can't remember his name. Sorry. That he really had a good point, and I found his story. And I found his angle more interesting, and I really learned a lot about it. So, but it's a shame if you get desperate, and I think that I don't think we've said this word. I don't think this word's been mentioned over this past 30 minutes. But I think that there's desperation. That word should be used here, and I think he's been desperate and. It's a shame that it gets to that, but that's where we are.
It's hard. Boostle's good. YouTube revenue's on the down right now, so we're on the flip of the bottom end. It's all going over the top. The peak for me was November. November was the absolute peak, and I'm on a ski slope from there. YouTube can make a change in 24 hours that ends you. You're at the whim of a business.
You are.
and
That's
they're
the
trying
biggest
to be
problem.
the next Netflix or Prime or Disney Plus. They're not interested in the small creators anymore. But one thing that I've noticed is there are some people out there that if they criticize you because you're making money out of these videos. You can't make money out of the hobby. Oh, sure. Hobby King can make money and TBS can make money, but you can't make money because you're only making videos. I mean, no. You're a bad person. There is a lot of that out there, not so much as there perhaps used to be, but there's still that resentment that how dare you make money while having fun? It's not fair because I'm not doing it.
By the way, can I add that I haven't got a clue who this Ken is?
What an insult that is, man. He'll be so
in my experience, and look, I've had a few. I found Ken very good. Look, he's been inviting me on the show. We've had some messages. I helped him with a few things. Genuinely, I found him a good guy. I think Ken's a typical different one as well because I think we've also lumped Ken in the bit of the wrong category, and Ken jumps between a fictional show and reality a bit back and forth as well. You know what I mean? Ken isn't a straight channel all of the time. But when it comes to this stuff, if you look at the biggies, look at the trouble Linus has got in over the years, look at the trouble, all of the big channels. In the end, what has been proven time and time again is if you intentionally or unintentionally deceive an audience, it will come back to bite you. And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, Ken's an entertainer, and
yes.
He is an entertainer.
He's old school radio, and he's brought it to internet. And it's not a format that I particularly enjoy. I don't watch his live stream. I've been on it, and I know other people have, but there's just too much sizzle and not enough steak. It's all turkey. What is it? Pigeon jerky and things. Okay, maybe it's entertaining the first time, but after the 20th time, it's just great. It's a bit just me though. It's just my approach to things. It's not something that I would choose to watch.
In the end, I've not really looked into it too much. I've heard about it, and I don't know what's true and what's not. As I'd say, if it was Bruce, if it was Gary, from my point of view, it doesn't change. I like the guy in all of my interactions as I do you guys. I'm trying to stay out of drama and stuff at the moment. I'm just trying to keep a bit of a lower profile on stuff. If I was invited on, I probably wouldn't go, but that's nothing really to do with this. That's just to do with I'm not really doing stuff right now. And hopefully he'll figure it out. He's been around a long time.
Bathroom to fix.
I got a bathroom to fit. I don't even go
there.
He's been around a long time as well. So will it end, Ken? No. That's the reality.
No, that's right. He's got a hardcore group of followers, and they appreciate what he does, and that's fine. We've all got our own little niche audiences, and we can't please all the people all the time. We've got to make choices, and every time we make a choice, we realize we may gain on one hand, but we're going to lose on the other hand, and everyone's desperately trying to find a better fit to the audience to keep their revenues up.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
And live without my $5 a month.
Exactly. I think we had a big month. I think it was about $1. It was about $1.16 last month for me. Exactly. Yeah, you're right up there. You're right up there. And don't get me started on those. What's those
shorts?
Those where you I've got my shorts on now. Where you super chats. Because people don't realise the creator gets blow of that super chat. It's a terrible
crazy.
Thing.
How can 50% you lose? I think it's 50. I don't look at the numbers because it scares me. But I tell you the biggest clever one I've seen. I don't know if you've seen this. Linus introduced merch messages. So what he says to people is don't donate if you buy from the store, buy something and you get to send us a message. Buy something for £1, doesn't matter. But he makes more money that way than he does through YouTube. It's insane what YouTube do charge. It's insanity that they take 50% of a super chat
for processing a transaction.
It should be 10%. I think 10% we'd all go, okay.
You feel sorry for somebody that's
Well, I can
But if
understand.
somebody
50%
sends you some money, they're
revenue.
expecting. Sorry, Bruce. Sorry,
Yeah,
you
sorry.
go, Bruce. Sorry.
I'm just saying I can understand why they take 50% of the advertising revenue. They've got to sell the ads, they've got to
Yes.
do all the back end and everything. But when someone's just paying some money, it's like Visa. You take a few percent. You don't steal all that money from them.
And it's the creator who's driving it. If you look at the difference between ads, YouTube, as you say, they're doing the advertising, they're getting the people involved, they're building the platform, they're doing all of that stuff to do it. Super chats are driven by the creator. If I don't sit there and say, hey, you can make a donation, it basically won't happen. It is the people who drive that, yet they take an extortionate amount of money from it. And that is the problem.
And that's why my server's over there, just about finished configuration, self-serving. I'll still put stuff up on YouTube, but if you want to come and get an ad-free experience and videos that I couldn't post on YouTube without risking demonetization or worse, they'll be on my own server, and I'll have full control.
His only server. There's a clue.
Yeah.
His only one.
Only
Yeah. Anyway,
server, yes.
his only server.
And I'm not wearing shirts.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Ian can be on it because he walks naked around his house.
He does. I
According to
wanted
DJI.
to drive. I was trying to drive that narrative earlier around to being not having a lot of money and all that sort of thing, and I failed. That's why I'm not Ken Heron and able to
Can't
do
afford clothes.
these sort of clever links, because I wanted to say, if you're after a bargain, there we are. This is quite a story, isn't it? Here it is. The Precision Hawk fire sale, and there is a lot of stuff. Let's go down here. Here we go. Here we are. Look at all these things that are for
Look at
sale.
the M600s. How many M600s did they have there? Because that's a big,
well, let's count on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You won't be able to give those away
12,
once they're banned.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 odd. 20 odd.
You should say with that though. Derbyshire Police could crash all of those within 90 days.
True.
And you would never know about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny enough. That's brilliant. That's almost like that's a link. That's brilliant. That is. Are you going to say anything?
The M30s. Oh, the thermal M30s. And the M200s. Oh, that's a
and
goodie bag.
even I think there's 6 P4P RTKs in there.
3DR solos there.
3DR solo. Look, yeah,
What did
it's
Precision
all
Hawk
there.
actually do? What was their core business?
Seems like they sold DJI gear. doesn't
Yeah, it seems like
it?
they don't develop anything or have their own products.
Yeah,
They just buy and sell.
Yeah, why did
They
have
did.
all this hardware?
Why?
Because remember they went
so much.
They went to a software model, remember, and they went around. Then also they had a division that was selling the use of their, I can't even remember what it was called, but their software. Oh, and look on the right hand side of the screen. There's Philip. Oh gosh, that must mean he's running randomly on the site. And if anyone has, thanks for that mention on Sunday, and we had loads.
I'll go there now.
Loads of clicks. So he's not there every time, but if he is there, click him, and then you're in a chance to win something from Cube Pilot. And the next draw will be the first. It'll be the first Tuesday of every month for the rest of the year, unless I have no internet or no power or no whatever.
Can't wait for the cease and desist letters to come in over the copyright infringement.
So that's
Which
where
copyright?
I find it the other day, Gary.
Did you have to click lots of times till you arrived?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't, because you sent me a message and I'm going, I can't fucking see anything, because I sent you a message going, where is this? On YouTube or your website?
No, he's not there every time. He's not there every time. He's not there every day. But I think he's going to be there. It looks to me, the look in his eye tells me he's going to be there till about Wednesday. On and off. Yeah, on and off.
So what's left to win at the moment then, potentially?
There's four more gold cubes to go. There's
He's devaluing my gold cube. I wish he wouldn't.
Yeah, I know. It's I look at it like the like Bitcoin and all that. I'm driving the price down.
There was only 3 of them when I had mine. It was.
Yeah. They're not so rare. Look, mine's even hiding behind my Nats.
Yours is there, yeah. It was only 3.
But have you got a Nats trophy though? That's
no, I haven't.
Yeah,
I spent my Bitcoin on pizza.
What else have we got? What else have we got?
Oh, there's all the autopilot range. One of all the autopilot range. The GPS that you're giving away, and frisbees, calendars, puzzles, posters.
Mouse mats.
So
I got
say
the
it.
mouse mats. Yeah, it's
Yes, yeah, the mouse
yeah.
mats.
Yeah, I did the part 1 of the Here Pro video. It's taken a bit longer than I would have liked. Look, I'll blame them for some of that, and I'll mostly blame me. There's been a lot of firmware tweaking to get it where it is today, and that's great. It ended up, that video, I couldn't make it all in one because I had to go through the firmware update process, because it's very important. Because if you want the Here Pro to be able to do everything it amazingly can, you need to make sure you update the firmware, but you not only have to update the GNS pref, which is obviously the firmware which is running on the STM32, you also have to update the uBlocks module to make sure that it's got the latest version, which has moving baseline and all of the lovely, great features. It is a very, very nice module. Once it's fully updated, it is a very, very nice module, and it is astonishingly sensitive compared to all of Here's have been sensitive. You know, I've got a video somewhere where I put one under a concrete brick, a foil covered brick, and it still worked. But yeah, it's a very good bit of kit. I'm in the pros. Funny enough, my wiring has come today because I need to make up long CAN cables. Philip, you need to make CAN cables about that long. With my arms.
Okay. Yeah.
About that long.
Yeah, you be careful though. If the cables are that long, you can end up not with a can, but with a can knot.
Cannot, yes.
Yes.
So I've had to make long cables
Very
because
good.
obviously for moving baseline they need to be 30 centimeters apart.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I've printed up the bracketry, 3D printed stands, which are these here. So these are designed to offset
Come on.
the GPSs.
Come on, put the fins. I want to see. I want to see it as the USS Enterprise.
You want to see? It
That's
will
what-
be similar.
I want to see that. I can't believe he hasn't got an Enterprise printing.
Yeah. So what will happen is, because obviously you need to make your custom mount for the GPS, but which way around is it? It's that way there, is it? It is. So that then will fit on the custom stand just like that. So there'll be 2 of them on the quads. So
It's a bit like
again,
an Oreo biscuit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They should have them in brown.
It will burn your eyes out with the LEDs. For anyone who did watch or didn't see the video, the LEDs are insanely bright if you set them to maximum brightness, as in I need a new set of retinas, please. It's bad. It's early days for AP Pref, you know, because it is basically a flight controller. It's got a gyro on board. It's got the STM32H7. All of that, though, isn't quite linked yet. Like often with Cube Pilot, Philip is always ahead of the software guys. He's laid the foundations of the hardware. And we saw this with the Cube. We saw this with a lot of stuff. And now you're waiting almost for Ardra Pilot to catch up the use cases. But this isn't a GPS for everyone. You know, the Here 4 is the standard one for most people.
And that's just like the red. Everyone's getting a bit excited about the red. That's not for everyone either. And it's also behind, you know, behind the dev curve, as it were. Maybe that auction's over. I haven't quite. I put that. I just thought it was interesting. I'll have to click through to see. I just thought it was interesting that they're there. They were always a dreadful company. They were always going to go bankrupt. They always were. Now it's American dating. Let me have a look. Second of the. Is it 4th of the 2nd, 24, or I don't know. Or is it 2nd of the 4th? I don't know. One or the other.
It's all backwards in America.
It's all backwards, yeah.
I just want to address something Rebo just said. I don't know if it's a joke comment, but let me just put some context on this. So the comment is, what's this? Gary giving his mates a head up of when Wonky appears. No, I was talking about it on my live stream. And for me to be able to show it on my live stream, I needed to be able to find it. He didn't actually tell me it doesn't appear. All I got a message was, I'll read the exact words because it was fairly light, wasn't it, Gary? As it always is.
Well,
which we'll get free ones anyway.
Details are just so yesterday.
Yeah, detail. We don't need details. Details are not important. Details are just thing. And it was something like, it's up if you. It's on there if you want to mention it on the stream or something like that. So no, it is not Gary
No,
giving
no,
his mates
no.
a heads up.
And it might be that when Gary sees his mate's name appear in the spreadsheet, he deletes them. I mean, far be it for me to say a thing like that.
I don't need to win anything on this competition. There you go. Problem solved. Philip,
I think you'll find Rev's actually been a winner. He's one of the winners. That's why he's actually. Yeah.
Is he going to go Q? He better not.
No.
Oh, good.
Hang on. Let me just open up the spreadsheet.
If I got one, I'd melt it down and make jewelry.
But yeah,
absolutely. So, let's move on. I've got to present something here before because Ian mentioned it, and then we moved away, and he was nicely set up by Stephen as well. So here we go. Do you want to talk us through this, Ian?
Yeah, this comes about just because we've mentioned before in the last few weeks there was a bit of a rumor. There's a few rumors swirling about of drone crashes and AAIB not having them on there, and there seems to be something where they know they haven't put some up there, and a lot of murkiness. So I thought, well, I'll ask the National Police Chief Council if they have a list of police drone crashes, and then they said, well, we don't. And I said, are you sure? And then really, again, it's down to wording. They're like, well, we don't exactly have a list, but we have.
Yeah.
So in the end, I said, do you hold the information in any form, in any shape or form whatsoever, kind of thing? So if you go down to the very end, that's what we got back. I think.
How far we're going to go?
Yeah, it was yesterday. I didn't even get a chance to read it when it first came through, but it fit in with what I'd heard on the grapevine, which was that a force in it was in the Midlands, and then I know it was a Derbyshire force, has had an audit by keep going to back to Bob. It's had an audit by the CAA, and from what I hear is they failed it miserably. And yeah, I've got if you scroll up a little bit, it's this attachment there. It's 670k there.
Views HTML, yeah.
You might be able to, yeah, and if not, you can do a download. So something a bit idea. There's actually more than just Derbyshire here. There's two by Welsh forces, but they're just one in each case. But these are obviously DJ Matrice mainly, and we've got one Mavic. So we've got collision with the telephone line, trees, another telegraph cable.
Who crashes into a telegraph cable? I mean, sorry. I mean,
well, who sends telegraphs anymore? That's what I want to know.
An Enterprise 2 collision with trees, a collision with telephone line. Who?
Well, one might suggest that someone with inappropriate training might do that sort of thing.
PV would fix this.
Or somebody, yeah. Well, no. However you slice and dice, it's ineffective training. If you're in a situation where you've got to go, it doesn't, in some ways, matter that you've got to go. You've still got to do your checks. You've still got to, look at the situation. You just can't get. I mean, heaven forbid anyone would try and chase a car with a Mavic, not this one. Oh, maybe it is this one, actually.
What was the visual observer doing?
Well, the visual observer in that car one was driving the car, and the bloke chucked it out the car, and guess what? It went 60 miles. It went back the other way, trying to chase another car. Allegedly, Your Honour. It's
apparently.
Yeah.
So the thing with this would just struck me with this one here is they're very close together. So you've got 5th of September, the first Matrice has a mishap. Then on the 9th of October, it's the next one. And then we get to November and it's the Mavic. It almost makes you wonder with those whether they've actually started running out of drones, because the M30 is the newest.
Yes, they've gone from the big one to the little one.
The M300 that's gone next, and it's what have we got left? It's the Mavic, and then you've hit that. So then all you've got left then is probably a Mini, or after that a hot air balloon.
It's all that when they don't trust them with the expensive gear.
But yeah, we'll see what comes out of the wash with the details on this one. But apparently, as I say, the CIA is rumored to have given them a number of actions to complete to address this. So there's a freedom of information in requesting about that. I think the concern around this is none of these, I've been onto the AAIB site, none of these are logged. So now I don't know. I'd always thought, and I don't know if things have changed, but I don't think they have, that where you have a crash, you're supposed to report it. And I've had a look on the CAP, which then refers to European legislation of occurrences and says what it considers as occurrence would include a collision or near collision on the, between an aircraft, train, or obstacle. So obviously, I think definitely telephone lines and cables and trees probably all come in to the category of terrain. So there is a question.
I think this is actually quite interesting. Now, I'm a board member of RPAS Finland here in Finland, and I'm the representative of RPAS Finland to the European Drone Federation, or actually the European Drone, or sorry, the Joint European Drone Association, which is called JEDA, which should be called JEDI in a sense. And we had our board meeting in Vienna last month, and one of the topics that came up was reporting accidents, and all of the European legislators, they all have a website that you can actually report accidents. So if your drone has an accident, you can. Now, this comes from the hobby side as well as the professional side as well. So if you have an accident, you are voluntarily, you can report that. Now, there was a discussion in the board meeting that we actually want to have statistics from the European side about every accident, but we want it to be voluntary. And we don't want names. We don't want people to actually say who they are, but we want them to report how many accidents they're having. So to put out to companies, to put out to everyone to say, how many drones have you had an accident? How many drones have you lost? How many times have you had an accident over the past couple of years? And we want to get that information so we can actually have a look at it to see if it kind of lines up with with what EASA are saying in a sense. And it should start with the police. It should start with them as well, because they are a body that we should be respecting. Now, I don't know too much about the UK police. I don't know how they're funded in terms of their drones. I know that the Finnish police here, we don't have helicopters in Finland for the police. There are no, let's say police helicopters, but every city and every police, let's say, station has drones, and they will use drones, and they are well trained to use drones. And it would be really interesting to see how the police in the UK, as well as other parts of Europe, but also how are they reporting accidents, and how does that actually correlate with let's say what EASA should be saying, and or how dangerous are drones, which we know that they're not.
Well, that's Ian's going down that line now, which is fantastic. It's the things have been heard, but you do have in the crude world, you have CHIRP, confidential human incident reporting system, and for voluntary. There's two stories here, isn't there? Really, for voluntary stuff, I think keeping anonymous is good in order to create that data, as you say, and increase safety, and rather have those reports. But I do know somebody that, and it wasn't me, that was prosecuted after a chirp, and that immediately made me think, whoa! I thought, whoa, hang on a minute, that information, he volunteered that information for other, and nobody was injured, nobody was hurt. It was an accrued thing. But they went after him afterwards. So even that chirp thing's a bit of a worry. But when it comes to police,
Sorry, I
Go on,
did think that they were required. So all drones are operated under the same set of rules in the UK.
Yes.
And any
Yes.
form of accident has to be reported. There is no get out for the police under any form for them to not report. So if these are not being reported through the channels, they're non-compliant because you're required to report. You are required to report every incident.
Yeah, from reading on it, what I could gather is if you just get damage to your props, that's fine. But it kind of implies anything more than that should be a report. I mean, I'm sort of I've got a number of views on this. We know with the chirps thing as well, they tried to use that against drones in the past. The CAA have said, give us anonymously, and then the moment you do it, that's been used as a sledgehammer again on the drone community against us. So I'm, whilst that goes on, then I'm not that keen on people having to report stuff for the fact of statistics being used against you. Apart from the fact that, you know, if you are going to use these things, I think that it comes down when it's like the police and so on, your authorities, you need to, because the same as if you had a police helicopter crash, you'd expect that to be reported, or if a police car has an accident, you know, there's involvement with other police authorities there. You know, you can be the IOPC or whatever they're called, can be involved. So there should be transparency there. But I do think there should be a question overall with drones, because when you think about it, if you have a Mavic Mini and you bump into a wall, to me, it shouldn't be something that's reported because there's literally no damage. It's so tiny and it's so small that it would be better if there was some more guidance and make common sense, because a lot of this incidents has come from manned aviation. And it's like, you know, let's get a bit of balance. So I think if you end up injuring somebody, that should be reported. If it's damaging some property where there's going to have to be a repair, it's reported. But if it's something where nothing's impacted and it's just you having to put your drone together, I don't think that should have to be reported. But
again, if you have your average person who has a Mavic Mini, right? How many people actually would even think that if they crashed it into a wall, for example, or it just fell out of the sky, how many people would actually think that they should report that?
Very, very few. But once you go
exactly.
Yeah,
but then
consumer setting, this is different. Every police drone is a commercial operation.
Yeah.
Whichever way we slice this, it's whether it be a business doing wedding photography, and I think, like, if it was let's just take a wedding photographer. The drone lost control and it hit the building he was filming. I'm not sure that needs to be reported in a private event. However, if you have a police drone that crashes in an open public area as a result of hitting a power cable where members of the public may have been wandering round, then at the end of the day, that should be reported.
But what if you have a member of the public who is in public, who's not actually a professional, but yet crashes the drone in public for many people to see? I mean, it could be in a building, it could be in a car, it could be into people. Do they understand that should be then also reported? So
SF Drone School makes a good point, because I knew I'd seen it in one of the tests I've taken up, the one I did my 107, that they have a financial value to that damage. But I think, let me muddy the waters further, as I normally do. Having it's great having this information, but part of remember the pilot ID, whatever that £10 is, that was supposed to give us, and the same in America, that was supposed to give us a bit of training and a bit of safety knowledge. It's all very well ingesting this data, and let's hope that it's kept anonymous and having the stats. But if the Best Buy buyer hasn't got access or doesn't understand the relevance on it, then it's kind of pointless in some ways if it's only going to a handful of people. We're not doing the safety piece, and what the instance that we've seen there with the police is, I think that will point to training. It'll point to training and standard operating procedures. And none of us want an unsafe sky. None of us want unsafe flying, model flying clubs or commercial flying. So what I want to see, what will be, that's what I want to see is, and if the CAA has pulled it, then they should be open about saying, we've pulled this for this commercial operator because of this. Don't do this, this, and this. But we're not going to see it. But I think we suspect there's quite a few, isn't there, Ian, that have gone, quite a few that have gone unreported.
Yeah, it concerns me actually. Look on the AAIB. There isn't a single police drone incident logged for the entire of 2023. It seems odd when you've got that batch there that have ended up at the NPCC that they've been questioned about, probably because they've gone to CAA. You suspect there's probably been more than that, and of course the question is, well, why aren't they appearing when the other kind of police accidents would do? But I do think there should be a wider conversation about, where, saying something a bit more concrete with drones, mentioning that about damage, the financial, putting something like that again is quite common sense. But as it stands at the moment, it should be the same as it would be for a commercial operator, as Ian said.
I think it's also interesting is with the Police Complaints Commission come into this, because if you have whenever there's an accident with the police, generally now the Police Complaints Commission are involved, whether it be a vehicular incident or someone gets injured or something like that. I do wonder where they're standing on this stuff, because they're there to hold the police account. And look, not every situation is a right situation for a drone. There are times where, should they be putting that in the air? That's another question, isn't it?
It's not always actually going to replace the helicopter.
No,
there are concerns about that, because it should be a case of why you're launching a drone when maybe in the situation it should be a helicopter. If the weather was really bad, for example, or there's a time dependency on trying to get to, say, for example, you're doing a search and rescue. You don't want to be sticking somebody in a car with a drone where they get caught in traffic and they don't get there until 2 or 3 hours afterwards before they can even put the drone up, if you could just deploy a helicopter. So I think there should be questions about the choices that you make.
And to Stephen's question about how does it work in the UK, and Ian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of a separate entity. There's the drone guys and the helicopter guys, and to my reckoning, the drone should be under the wing of not wing of the helicopter guys, because they are aviators and they fully understand the capabilities of the gear that they've got and where drones might fit in better. To me, it just seems, where's the red card? It just seems logical and common sense that they'd run it, but it's not. So I think there is a little bit of friction between the two camps.
But that's not how it works here in Finland. That's not how it works, because there are no aviators, there are no helicopters. The only helicopters we have here in Finland are for the air ambulance. And that's a totally different story. But all of the police are actually trained. Actually, there was an event last week here in Finland, in one of the cities not too far away, where, as far as I'm aware, every drone operator in the police was at this event, and they're all, as far as I'm aware, very, very, very actually highly trained. And I sometimes speak with the police if I'm going to fly in a place where I know that there are police, and I'll I approach them to say, I'm going to fly now, and the police will say, actually, I don't know the rules and regulations here, but I know that there's someone nearby who does, and they radio him to come down, and they'll have a chat, and everything's fine. So from my own experience, and I do know some of the police guys, is that they are well educated. They know what they know what they're doing. Whereas, of course, I think in the UK that is not the case. And and Gary, you can probably do a bit more investigation about this as well. But I know that the Finnish police are one of the best drone, let's say, drone operators in Europe. And actually one of the highly used as well.
I think the problem is without report. Sorry, Bruce.
No, DJ Audits is educating the police about drones, isn't he? Isn't that his job?
Yeah, that is his job. Exactly.
I think part of the problem is, though, without the reports, we don't know the context. I don't think anyone would care if drone crashed as a result of a guy who attacked someone was being chased and the police were using it. The problem is we don't know. Was this a drone was used because there was a report of something dull that completely didn't warrant the use of a drone. The reality is we don't know. And that's the worrying thing. If we could see that, it was an emergency event, the police drone was used, fast action, the weather turned, something happened, I don't think anyone really cares. But we don't know. And that's the problem.
Oh, I hate to say this, but if there's any leakage within the DJI data, wouldn't this be the perfect example to get it out there?
Yeah, I mean, with the DJI data, with the police stuff, I'd be less concerned, and I think I know like Philip and so on are of this view that even once stuff goes military or whatever, you don't want the data there. But for police using it generally, I wouldn't see a worry with it. Although I do think we should have a bit of a conversation after this about the way Kevin's putting the data out there, because it is showing some things that are interesting in of themselves. So we'll get on to that.
Well, let's. Oh, all right. You go. What are you going to want to go with? Here we go. Is 45 minutes. Get yourselves a cup of coffee.
I just wanted to follow on from because we had this conversation a few weeks ago, and because obviously live on air and that, I said the inverse of what I meant to say. So I just thought I'd put the record straight now. I agree with you on that it should. I think the drone thing should sit under the National Police Air Service because they're aviators, like you say. And then you don't get in that conflict of should we be using drones, should we be using helicopters? It's
they'll pass the right thing.
To law and you pick them, especially when you get into BV loss. But I do think at the same time, you still need to have your drone teams at local level. Because what you'd really want, you still want a police officer to help up a small drone like a Mavic. But I think there's a far higher degree of responsibility when you're putting up a Patrice, because that's something that falls out of the sky, it could kill somebody. And so there needs to be a level of saying, for this, you can have a relatively low level of training. It's low risk, and we should have more of them. There should be more. To me, almost something the size of a Mavic should be kit as common as having a taser, or even more common than that. Something that you can put up to because I would see that as an acceptable risk. But once you get up to bigger drones, it gets. Then it's getting into proper aviators, as you've said, and that knowledge and weighing up the resources that you've got. So it was really just to clarify with that's for me that makes more sense. Obviously, the powers that be they've got the reasonings for what they're doing, but at the moment it seems a little bit that you've got these two assets and they're in different areas and they're different people owning them, and I don't know if my perception of it is all that's not clicking together as well as maybe it could do.
I'm trying to find Kevin Sings easily to put.
Yeah, I'll go a bit on that while you're looking for it. I'd have liked to have delved into this, but I'm a bit concerned because UK law is quite strict about when it comes to because obviously it wouldn't be hacking for me to look at the data, but we have laws in this country around about accessing computer systems and so on that are stricter than the rest of the world, really, certainly stricter than what they are in America. So I asked the journalist about this, could I really look at it? And he said, really, you cross a line at some point. If you look at data to confirm it is genuine and is what it purports to be, that's fine. But if I was to start analysing the data that Kevin had got, I could then step over a line. So I've not gone away to download it or analyse it, which is a shame because I would have liked to have a look at it. But I can see from what Kevin's done, and this is what concerns me about drone data being collected. It's not so much about DJI, the whole principle of it. So please collecting it, or anybody, if you're collecting it and you're keeping a history, it is so powerful and it is so open to abuse, and Kevin has shown this. So, for example, from last week's show, the great thing with this now, with the power of AI, is Kevin put the data from the DJI hack into Chat GPT, and he said, tell me every pilot that's been illegally close to Gatwick Airport, and boom, list out. In fact, no. So closest that someone had come, and this is obviously up to 2017, was 400 meters, which is we don't know whether they had permission or not. But if you don't say if they didn't, that it's definitely illegal. But the scary thing there, it had their email address as well, and the email address was unique enough where you could actually start working out who that was. In fact, you banged it into Google, and a property they owned was boom there in the search results. People don't appreciate where their emails, where they actually put that in other systems and things tie together. So you suddenly realise, oh Jesus, even the small amounts of information there before you even start looking at the geographic, start giving away a picture about who you are. So with this particular pilot, it was then able to work. He knew all the flights they'd had, where they were, and that that's in their entire history. So even if they went around the world, you know all the flights they had, and all this is within queries. You could say, which pilots have flown together at a site, or maybe these are mates. Tie all their flights together. You can do so much with the data, but it's so invasive at the same time, and. Yeah, I can see why a lot of people want to be in this world of collecting data, because they'll be wanting to sell this. This is high value stuff when you suddenly realize just all the connections you can make. If you wanted to look at which companies were employing which drone pilots to take the business off, an absolute breeze.
How recent is this data, Ian? Because
it's not that
curiosity.
Recent. It's up to 2017, midway through.
Yeah, I thought so. So it seems to stop at 2017. Is that right? It stops at
when they were found out.
6 years now, isn't it?
It's when they were found out that they were doing it. That's when it stops, and they changed the system. But I thought this comment about Bamboo Labs was quite good. If DJI did what Bamboo Lab just did for their firmware, the entire DJI privacy security discussion would be immediately demolished. I never understood why they don't just enable a secure boot key that allows RG-Pilot software to run. But it's there. It's there.
It's interesting because the data overall is quite boring. But
what to
do with it, and that's the real key, as Ian said here. What's scary is that people have been able to go. So tell me, anyway, that Gatwick is amazing. That is because that's their next step, is a knock on the door, and that's the worry. That data is we're looking,
and that's how remote ID will work.
When someone is looking for a reason to knock on your door, that is the kind of data that's very dangerous. It's not about it being online. No one cares. It's when the police have decided this person is a problem. We now need to find something. And that's the scary part. Like Ian, when he finally gets bundled into the back of a transit van and found that he accidentally cut off his head while shaving one morning.
That sort of a thing.
He committed suicide, 3 shots to the head.
Yeah.
Ian, you shouldn't end up like the Boeing whistleblower,
Yeah, evening to think flight there. Yeah, what a time to be alive, eh? What a time to be alive.
Well, you can be.
But if China's doing it, I say good luck to them. Good luck to them. If they've sorted that out, then that's fair play.
They're investing so much into AI right now, because with all that data, you have to manage it somehow. And AI is the most effective way to go through the trillion petabytes of data they've collected and pull out the good bits.
Exactly, and that's exactly what they've been waiting for the Reaper and Predator fleet as well, because the 20-man team that look at the feed afterwards can't get through it all, and the USAF have been storing petabytes of data from those flights for years, and they're going to run it through just to see what they missed, and that's exactly why they've stored it.
And I think petabytes are the best because they look after animals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brand that I always choose for my pets. Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're definitely going to go down the nonsense. Oh, no, what's it?
One
go on.
With Kevin's data, because obviously he's delving into it more and he's doing more posts on it. He's looking. But what was interesting was there were Chinese users close to the Pentagon, which I thought The thing is now with Kevin's data, even though that's out of date, and even though I think it isn't as big an issue as it will be made out to be, because you can turn off that being transmitted, there's going to be a lot of people now that are going to use that and weaponize it to say DJI is really evil. But at the same time, there may be one or two incidents there that have been missed that actually might be worth looking into. I do think those Chinese users being close to the Pentagon, if they've not known about this, they should actually be looking at that data and finding out who they are and saying, actually, is that something we do need to be worried about?
Well, that's your man playing the piano in London when the Chinese film crew turn up to hoof him away. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Oh, I know. But something we do need to do before we go, which I find amusing. There
I
it
think
is.
Monty Python got it right. I like Chinese.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. They're short, they're tiny, they only come up to your knees.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. There's a man who won't come on tonight because he's currently drinking in Switzerland, he tells me. So congratulations to Richard. This is
He's
the
done
start.
very well for a ginger, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he has. He has. My prediction is this is Nat's or my not prediction. My take on this is that this is Nats realizing they're playing the old game and they've got to catch up with the new stuff. And that's Richard getting ready to take over Nats. Now, congratulations to the team at Altitude Angel. That's big news. I hope it goes.
I hope there's just some common sense, because what we keep seeing happening in the UTM world is everyone keeps inventing a new one, and it looked like Nats were going down that route. The open flight or whatever it was. So I do wonder now if this means actually they'll think actually Altitude Angel's doing a lot of this stuff already and have got a lot of the tech. Just utilize that and let's stop everyone duplicating everyone else's solutions with here's another spin on the same solution.
He's a lovely guy. He has to be absolutely loaded by now. Well done, Rich.
There's medication for that.
Yeah, I know. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good to see that. And as you say, because we can't have 57 different UTMs, that's for certain. It's just we can't. It'd be more than 57. It'd be hundreds of them.
Tell Australia, tell New Zealand. They're all developing their own. It's ridiculous. Tell Google, tell Amazon.
I don't like the government paying huge amounts of money to anyone unless I know them.
Yeah, exactly.
Fujitsu would be the perfect people. Not only do they screw up the postal system, the post office system, but now there's had a big data breach as well. So Fujitsu,
I don't think Rich has had a big sum of money for him though.
No. It's not going to.
Don't they have altitude angel funding?
Oh, and I forgot to. Yeah, look, hang on a minute. I forgot to also mention. That's why I did it. Damn, I forgot to mention it. Have a look at the background. Was anyone recognise that ground control system there? Anyone recognise that in the background? Because it's baked in. It's baked in. Altitude Angel is baked into Mission Planner. And so in the UK, I know it's going to work out of the box. Anyway, that's an aside. But yeah, it's quite funny. Who knew it came in the box? Absolutely. Right. Nat's going to build a here we are. The public funded part of the business. Yes, and you're part of that in Bristol, I think, James. I think you're part of that stuff there. So no doubt we'll be seeing good stuff from yourself as well. But on that note,
before we go, I've just had a message come through. So can you, if I just post this here, let me find it.
Oh God, what's happening now? Here we go.
Into the live chat. This would be really handy. Let me get to me messages.
That's slick. You're almost as slick as me, Ian.
It's good to know the UK is going to have flying taxis by 2030, isn't it?
Oh, that's nuts, isn't it? Such bollocks.
Oh yeah,
such bollocks.
We should have a quick talk about that before we finish, actually. But anyway, before we do, let me get this.
Oh, what about? We've also not mentioned being able to buy the EHang thing on Tybo now for $300,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I'm waiting until it comes onto Temu for $50.
Into the
chat,
Gary. There's a
yes.
university study being carried out
Yeah.
And they want to hear from any drone operators. This is
Yes.
this is globally of who have actually been harassed verbally, whatever, assaulted, you name it. If you've felt intimidated whilst flying your drone, they want to know about it. So this would be good to contribute to, because I know UK, but I've experienced it myself, and that actually ties in with negative press periods about drones. So this will be interesting to capture, because I think this is the first time anyone's tried to capture this issue.
Well, our entire council, I can report them.
You can. Hang on, I'll find where I put that on SUS News.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, will I? Will I have time?
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Well, yeah, it is shameless. You actually should see the plugs here; they're cheap as anything.
You should talk to Ken Heron.
Oh, I'm too slow to find it. Anyway.
Share that with us, please, because we can share this. This needs to be shared, because I think for the social acceptance study, and I think that's what this is really about. Social acceptance is that this really has to be shared, because this is good data that has to be gathered.
Well, the reason I'd remembered that I was it's because it's the time. I'll share my version on here. The link's there if it works for everybody. We'll stop sharing that, and I'll present. Here's me adding 30 minutes to it now. It's because it's the time where Ian tempted me. Oh, look, and that bloke's back there again. Look, when I used generated an AI image. Have you experienced aggression or violence? So that poor little girl's being chased, and there it is. They're going through there.
Well, you've reversed the gender roles, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got it all.
There's no Karens there. It should be all women chasing.
Tell me where the nasty drone touched you.
She'll be with the nasty drone touched you.
That's why we have drone dogs.
Right, we're definitely going nonsense mode. We're now 41. It's nonsense. Okay. Dear viewer, so moving now Network Rail will become Network Rail. Don't get me. Oh no, Snapshot Show might make me take me down a 20-minute rant. Network Rail have no authority, and it's terrible that they keep pushing that narrative. It really is. Just ignore them. Obviously, don't hit a train. That's bad form. But I think we all know that. Anyway. Dear viewers, wherever you're in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you again 2100 GMT next week. Keep looking out for Philip. If you haven't entered the competition, enter, and you'll be in it. You've got to be in it to win it. And if you've entered before, you're still in it. You're still on the list. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Gosh, it doesn't make any sense at all. See you guys. Look after yourselves.